Questions. Get your questions in. Hyrox questions. We've got Hyrox London coming up just this weekend, so hopefully you are all ready. But I'll be answering your questions to let you, just to give you a few more tips, just to make sure you're primed and you're all good to go. So if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I'll be answering some of the questions that I collected that are quite common. So firstly, number one, what to eat before Hyrox? I think this is one of the most common questions that people don't consider until like a couple of days before, and then they're like, oh my God, don't really know what to do here. And keep it really simple. It shouldn't change too much from what you normally do. I personally think the most important meals are the day before. So the dinner and lunch the day before, getting in a decent amount of like a well-balanced meal, and that's going to allow you the most time to digest and absorb those nutrients. So I encourage a balanced meal the night before, proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. You can favor carbohydrates a little more, but nothing too excessive, nothing that's going to like cause digestive issues. So for some people, wheat and pasta can kind of cause some gut issues. So you kind of want to limit that. Rice might be a better option, and just sticking to familiar foods, because I find, and then getting it, if you can get in those couple of decent meals the night before, then you don't have to worry about it as much on the day, because I find my digestion on the day, it can be a little off, just pre-race nerves, anticipation, you're on the go, that sort of thing. So if I can get a decent meal in the night before, then the day of, it's trying to keep it simple carbohydrates, and trying to take out, the closer you get to racing, the less you want fats and protein. So fats just kind of slow everything down, and protein isn't a great fuel source. It's good for your recovery, so save that until after. So pretty much just having on the day of or a few hours before, just having carbohydrates. So like, for example, my race isn't until the evening. So I'm on at 8:10. The morning, the day before, I'll have lunch, rice, fish, big portion, dinner, pasta, meatballs, some veg, and then the morning of, I'll probably, because it's so late, I'll probably have some protein. So I'll have like eggs on toast. Eggs are quite easily digested, and then I'll have oats at around lunchtime with some fruit, and then that will be pretty much my last big meal. And then I'll just have like cereal bars, rice cakes, or I've got a carbohydrate supplement, and I'll take kind of a lot of snacks with me, and then just eat based on how I feel. You don't want to be really full before racing, but you want to just keep those energy reserves, those glycogen stores topped up, and that'll kind of be your best bet. So yeah, I think there was another question someone sent in about, oh yeah, so racing at 7:30 a.m. what do you eat before, and what time do you fuel? So we kind of covered that. A decent, well-balanced meal the night before, little bit carb heavy. And then if your race is at 7:30 in the morning, I probably wouldn't have a proper meal in the morning. I would just, obviously it depends on when you wake up, but I just go for like, yeah, cereal bars, rice cakes, simple sugars like a gel or a carb drink. And you can have that up to kind of an hour before. Cool. Hopefully that's kind of giving you a bit more of an idea on nutrition. Then we've got how many rest days should you take before a Hyrox? What should your last training sessions look like? So this is what I recommend and what I do myself. I'll kind of talk you through how I've built in. I'm racing in London, doing the men's pro. So I'll kind of talk you through how this week has gone for me. So last Sunday, the Sunday before Hyrox, I do a full intensity, but not the full thing. I normally do that 2 weeks before. So this last Sunday, I did like a half Hyrox, 50% of the stations, 500-meter runs. So shorter volume, but keeping that high intensity. And then Monday I took as a rest day. Tuesday I did 1 kilometer intervals at my Hyrox race pace. So I'm kind of getting used to that pace, and more importantly, trying to get used to that pace without over relying on my watch, and trying to get a feel for that. So 1 kilometer intervals, not at max speed, so it's not too demanding. And then Wednesday, I had my last hard workout. And this is where I was getting up to kind of the same intensity as Hyrox, but shorter volume, and picking movements that are less impactful on the body. So the sled push and the sled pull are great because there's no eccentric, so that lowering phase, which creates muscle damage. It's the eccentric movements that break the muscles down and cause you to be sore the next day. So things like the lunges and the wall balls to some extent, and then like the burpees, it's the landing, it's the impact that causes you to be a bit beaten up, a bit sore the next day. So I try to kind of avoid those. We did some running, we did the machines, and we did the sled push and pull, roughly 30 minutes, and then about a little bit of a cycle afterwards, just to kind of cool down. Today, which is 2 days before, I did about half an hour of mobility, soft tissue, foam rolling, that sort of thing, and about 20 minutes swim. And then I did hot and cold exposure, so sauna, cold plunge, for, I think I did 20 minutes in the sauna, 3 minute cold, 20 minutes in the sauna, 3 minutes cold, and then went for a walk. So it's just kind of not exerting a lot of energy, but staying mobile, keeping the body feeling good, keeping the body ticking over. And I'll probably do something quite similar tomorrow. So kind of, in short, 4 days out intervals, 3 days out, low impact Hyrox workout, the sleds, 2 days out, active rest day, 1 day out, pretty much just rest day. Some people like to do a shakeout run. I personally don't. I just prefer to do a longer warm up, do a bit of running in the warm up. But yeah, that's kind of personal preference. I just try to avoid any high impact kind of on the body. Okay, next question. How long does it take to train or prepare for your first Hyrox? Currently training 4 to 5 days per week. So I'd say the answer to this one, it depends how good you want to be at Hyrox. I think with Hyrox, it is a fairly low barrier to entry. You are, as long as you're strong enough to push the sleds and you're like mobile enough to actually to complete the movement standards, then it's kind of just a matter of how long it takes you. And so if you're already active and you're training 4 to 5 days per week, you could probably compete. You could probably complete a Hyrox. But if you want a decent crack at it, I recommend 8 weeks. So kind of 2 months to get efficient at the movements and dial in your fitness. And that's the reason I made my race ready plan 8 weeks, because I think if you can follow that, you can go into your race and give it a real effort that you're proud of. You're not just like kind of anxious about racing and just will I be able to complete it, you're kind of you can, if you have those 8 weeks and you follow a solid plan, you can go in with right, I know what I'm doing, I've put the work in, let's see what we can do, and kind of be proud of your effort rather than just really kind of sheer holding on, kind of get through it. Cool. Next, we've got my fingers got cut up on the rope pull from my fingers got cut up on the rope from trying the sled pulls. How can I prevent this? So you are allowed gloves. Some people wear like gym gloves, or gardening gloves is quite common. And I personally don't, but I have pretty tough hands working in a gym, moving weights and stuff. So that's kind of fine. But I would say that you can use gloves. You can use chalk. Chalk sometimes does help. Like, you normally rip your hands when you're when it's sliding. So a bit of grip can help. So chalk up. But otherwise, get gloves or toughen up your hands. We got a couple of injury questions. So let me see. What to do if I haven't been able to run up to an event because of injuries, and what to do if you've had setbacks in training. Okay, so my best advice with this is kind of to shift your perspective on your race. If you're unsure on how your body's going to hold up, then going into a race with like a time goal in mind is just going to put pressure on yourself, and you don't want that pressure to perform. Go in with a realistic mindset of kind of let's see how it goes. Let's start steady and build into the race. And if you feel good after like the first 4 stations, then you can notch it up a bit. But I would just try and enjoy it. Like, it's a good atmosphere. Everyone is super supportive, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. You can always do it next time. But if you start to put this pressure on yourself, like that I need to hit these times, I don't know how I'm going to perform, then you're only creating more anxiety, and it's much harder to compete that way and to race that way, rather than thinking, let's see how it goes, get out there, and okay, this feels good, let's take it up, or I'm starting to feel it now, let's just see how far we can go. Like, what's kind of the worst that can happen? And if you haven't been running in training, then definitely start steady, because you might find, I don't know what injury you have, but you might find that with something like a tendinopathy injury, then it can, if you've had a lot of time off, when you first start running, feels great, you might think, oh, I'll ramp it up, and then it can kind of flare up a bit later. So I would say don't kind of ramp, and I'd say this for nearly everyone, is don't ramp it up until after the sleds. That's when you're a decent way through the race. You can kind of know what that compromised run feels like, and you've kind of got a bit more understanding. You don't know how those sleds are going to feel. So after you got past those, if you're still feeling good, you can ramp it up. If you're not feeling good, then just work it one station at a time. Get to that rower. I love that sit down on the rower, and then as I say, one run, one station at a time. Again, guys, drop a comment in the live stream if you have any. What else are we going to go over? What should you pack? Well, we kind of covered the food thing. You need your race gear. I pack like a change of clothes. They do have changing areas there, but there are no showers. So maybe pack some wipes and deodorant. And yeah, what else? Gloves, if you're going to use those. Any of your race gear. Like, think about this, kind of having it packed and ready the day before. So you've kind of got it in your head what you're going to do, and go from there. When should you arrive? That kind of depends on, one, if you've checked in or not, and two, if you've done a Hyrox before and you're kind of familiar with the setup. So if you've never been to a Hyrox before, if you're first time, then I would arrive probably 90 minutes to 2 hours before, just to make sure that you can get checked in. There's recently been some queues with check-ins. If you've already checked in, then maybe like an hour before, so you can have a look at the venue, have a look at the layout, and familiarize yourself. I think this London one looks pretty simple. 2 laps, and the stations are in the correct order. So chronologically, you just move from one end of the hall through to the other. But yeah, have a look at the venue, familiarize yourself with where everything's at, and then you kind of got half an hour to warm up, and then you're good to go. I would avoid spending too long in the getting there too early and spending too long in the arena, because the adrenaline just being in there is really lively. It kind of gets that low level stress the whole time, and so if you're there for a long period of time, you're going to get a little bit fatigued just from stimulation. So with me, I am kind of torn between, I want to watch people, I want to watch my clients, my family are competing. So but also I want to race, and my race is in the evening. So what I'm going to do is I will watch my brother and my dad. Shout out to them. Good luck on race day. We will be there. A Woodsy team will be out in numbers competing. And so I'm going to watch those. And then I've got a little bit of time where I'm just going to get out of there, kind of chill out before my race and come back at 8. My race is at 8:10, so I'll probably will have checked in earlier, and I'll come back at probably like 10 to 8 just to do a quick warm up, get in the zone, and then go out and race. Think we've covered most of the questions that we've got coming in. I'll just check if there's any more. Yeah, I think that's everything. As I say, I'm going to be there. We've got a few guys from my gym. Coactive is going to be there, and my brother, my dad, and so if you spot any of the guys in the Team Woodsy vests, come and say hello, and I hope everyone has a great race at the weekend. Thank you to everyone that has supported this channel, or and I've had a lot of nice comments from people that have watched the videos. Again, I've got loads of deep dive videos that go into every station. So if you are cramming that last minute research in, you can check that out on my channel. The deep dive series goes over each station, and you can check that out. So otherwise, good luck, and hope to see you out there. Let me know how you get on, and I'll see you in the next one.